Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings. We generally like to talk a lot of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general, and in this video we're going to be starting our annual countdown of our top 100 board games of all time. And just remember, if your favourite board games aren't on this list, then that is because A, we haven't played them, or B, it's because we think they're shit. So if you're new here, then consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button, all that YouTube bullshit. See you after this. Bollocks. So number 100 on our top 100 board games of all time for 2023 is a dexterity game called Jungle Speed. In Jungle Speed, you'll put a totem pole out onto the centre of the table and you will be dealt a hand of cards. You will reveal a card and each of these cards will have a pattern on it, right? Some of the patterns will match, and if you match a pattern with another player, then you will have to try and grab the totem pole as quickly as possible to avoid a penalty. A word of warning, I always say this when I talk about Jungle Speed: do not play this game with anyone that has any kind of nails on their fingers, because you will end up with shredded hands, right? But yeah, Jungle Speed is a fantastic dexterity game that never fails to impress, and it's great, right? So number 99 on this list is another dexterity game. There's going to be plenty of dexterity games on this list because it is one of our favourite genres. But number 99 is Meeple Circus. In this game, you'll be balancing different types of meeples, whether they are human, performers or animals, in your circus ring. You'll be trying to fulfil the requirements of the crowd to give you points over the course of 3 rounds, yeah? What makes this game special is that for the first 2 rounds, everyone is going to be balancing their meeples simultaneously, but in the 3rd round, all eyes will be on you and you will have to do your major performance under the scrutiny of the other players, right? Meeple Circus is a unique game. It's full of character. It's a couple of decent expansions, and if you like dexterity games like I do, then this should be in your collection, shouldn't it? Well, number 98, lo and behold, is another dexterity game, yeah? It's Dungeon Fighter. In this game, you'll put a target out on the board. You will have a certain number of dice and you will be rolling these dice, trying to land them in the spots on the board that do the most damage to the monster. If you manage to do this, you'll get a bit of dosh, which will allow you to buy stuff at the dungeon shop. This will embellish your character with special abilities and give you better weapons that may require you to throw the dice in a certain way. You might have to balance it on your elbow, stick it on the end of your nose, or even shove it up your ass. Dungeon Fighter is very, very difficult, yeah? Where you're using square dice, they have the tendency just to roll off the table or not go where you want them to, so it can be a little bit frustrating. But for sheer chaos and mayhem, Dungeon Fighter is one of the best dexterity games that we know of, right? So number 97 on the list of our top 100 games of all time is Tales of the Arabian Nights. This is a game that was first released in the 80s and it's a story-driven game. You'll be taking on the role of characters like Aladdin, Ali Baba and all that shit. You'll be running around the Middle East and having adventures, right? The main focus of this game is the Book of Tales. When you go to a location, you'll draw an encounter card and it will direct you to an entry in the Book of Tales. You'll have choices to make based on your character's abilities, right? The scoring system in this game is completely and utterly meaningless. Nobody ever takes a blind bit of notice of that, but these stories that it tells of your characters' journeys through this mental world of the Arabian Nights is still one of the best experiences that we've ever had with a board game, yeah? So number 96 on this list is a game called Police Precinct. This is a cooperative game where you will be trying to hunt down the murderer, all the while putting out fires and stopping criminals, yeah? Police Precinct is a pure Ameritrash game. It's very, very luck based, but it's also very thematic as well. With our copy, we traded out the cardboard cars and we actually put in some Matchbox police cars to add to the already very strong theme of this game, yeah? We picked up all of the small pack expansions to adds even more variety to this game. So yeah, Police Precinct, it looks fantastic. If you don't like luck-based games, it's not going to be up your street, but I can put that to one side and pretend to be a corrupt police officer, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, you know what I mean? So number 95 on this list is an expansion, right? Does that count? Am I cheating? I don't give a fuck. But it's Ticket to Ride, specifically the UK version. We've been playing Ticket to Ride for what seems like an eternity, and it started to get a little bit boring and mundane, didn't it, right? But we recently picked up the UK Pennsylvania map extension for this in a bargain bucket sale, and it has reinvigorated the game for us. In Ticket to Ride, you will be playing different sets of cards to connect routes on the board. Routes will give you points. Whoever's got the most points at the end of the game will win, right? There are a few problems with Ticket to Ride depending on what version you play. Sometimes you can get blocked into a corner, especially on the original USA map. But the UK map introduces technologies and different types of tickets that you will need to expand your network, right? Ticket to Ride is an unadulterated classic, yeah, and it sold millions of copies worldwide and it is not going anywhere. So if you don't like Ticket to Ride, you might as well just fuck off and live in a bush, shouldn't you? So number 94 on this list is another classic game. It's Carcassonne, right? Carcassonne is a tile laying game. You'll be taking tiles from a number of stacks. You'll be placing them down. You'll be trying to build cities. You'll be trying to place your thieves out onto the roads. And also, you'll be trying to place your farmers in fields, right? One thing I've never been able to get my head around about Carcassonne is how come every time you play it, the city seems to take on a life of its own, even though it is just a load of shitty artwork on a tile, yeah? But I love the fact you get to build the environment tile by tile, and it's different every time, yeah? You add to that the hidden scoring mechanism at the end when you score your farmers' fields. They seem to be inconsequential as you are playing a game, but they can really push you over the edge in terms of victory, yeah? So yeah, Carcassonne's been around for about 24, 25 years, and I'll keep playing it until I'm dead. So next game on this list, number 93 on this list, is a game called Wallenstein. This is also known as Shogun, but we prefer the Wallenstein theme because I am a bit of a sweaty old cunt. Wallenstein is essentially an area control game, yeah? You'll be vying for control of these different regions. And the way that you do this is through selecting cubes that are thrown into a cube tower, the same tower that is used in games like Amerigo, right? That Stefan Feld game that nobody ever played. There's 10 different actions in this game. You'll be able to build palaces, churches and trading firms, right? Because who doesn't want to build a trading firm? Be able to supply your armies with shit that'll produce grain. And you'll also be able to cut the balls off of your opponents, yeah? Wallenstein is one of the greatest area control war games of all time. It is a masterpiece of design, and that cube tower just feels like it's a massive cock in the centre of the table, yeah? So yeah, I love Wallenstein, but I do wish that cube tower was just a little bit smaller, right? So number 92 on this list is a game that has never been in our top 100 before. It's Race for the Galaxy. Race for the Galaxy is a card game that has some of the most mind-bendingly complex iconography in any game that we play, right? But once you get over that hurdle, it becomes one of the best civilization building games that you can get. In this game, you'll be trying to settle planets. You'll be trying to extract resources from said planets. You'll be increasing your military in order to beat up your opponents, right? And by expanding your production operations and your influence in the galaxy, you'll be able to score victory points, yeah? Like I said, it has got a huge barrier to entry with the icons that can be a little bit confusing, but if you persevere with this one, then it is pretty much unparalleled, yeah? And there's a reason why these games never go out of print. It's because they are so fucking good, yeah? And Race for the Galaxy is no exception. So number 91 on this list of our top 100 games of all time is a game called Troyes. This is a dice-driven game. At the beginning of the game, you're going to be rolling your dice and you'll be putting them into a segment in the centre of the board, which represents the city of Troyes. You'll be using these dice to take actions in the 4 different regions, yeah? You've got the city, you've got the religious region, you've got the military region, and you've got the civil region, yeah? You might want to contribute to the building of the bishopric, or you might want to employ the services of a host of characters that will help you get a leg up in the town council, or maybe help you destroy the marauders that will always try and nick your shit. Troyes is a rich Euro game that has one of the best expansions that we can think of, the Ladies of Troyes. It adds a mechanism where you can go for a run around on the battlements and get even more stuff that way, yeah? But Troyes, one of the best Euro games ever made, and we love it. There you go, we're going to stop there. That concludes the first segment of our top 100 board games of all time. Do you agree with our list? If you don't, leave a comment down below and we'll come round your house and kick your fucking head in. But until then, wait for the next instalment of this list, right? We'll see you next time.